performed like for large crowds before, so being seen and heard by crowds doesn't really bother me.
Now, when he finishes his quote in an upper tone, I'm not sure if I like that necessarily, because it seems like he has something else to say and we're cutting him off. And I guess to create a story or whatever it is that we're doing for this assignment, to make it seem fluid between the reporter and the interviewee, that the quote is succinct and it has an ending. We can go ahead and go back to that quote later to make sure that with what we have, it is definitely something we want to consider using. Now I'm going to keep these two down here in their exact position, because then later I can simply extend in the part that we cropped out. But for now, since that space was filled by an we will go ahead and leave it as is for now.
So, like I said, right now it's just gathering the technical portion of it so that I can put that with the other side.
Right, okay, so we're done with that quote. Going to the next.
Find a happy medium, something, number one, that I don't hate doing every day, and number two, I can provide for myself and eventually if I have a family that.
Okay, definitely something we don't think we need to use, so we'll go ahead into the next bit here.
Ultimately, I would like to have a humongous label like Kanye West, but right now that's not feasible in terms of finances. But I've always cringed when I saw or heard bad writing or bad speaking. So that actually led me to journalism.
Okay, so we'll go ahead and possibly just take this. We'll see how long this quote is, if it were this long. Another 18 seconds. To get these quotes around 10 seconds might be quite difficult, but we'll work with what we have. I believe the end of the quote would be here. We'll go ahead and pull that out of its element and into a new track and begin to see if we can split this up a little bit.
Ultimately, I would like to have a humongous label like Kanye West, but right now that's not feasible in terms of finances. But
now, before the but, we could definitely split that. You know, we could create two quotes out of this. We'll go ahead and try that right now and try to cut out the but at the end of his sentence, which may not be possible because he uses that almost in his sentence. We'll go ahead and try that.
Feasible in terms of finances, but
we'll go ahead and select that area. That's our work area now.
Finances, but.
Alright, looks like the word but is right here. So we'll split that off and take a look.
Finances.
Maybe fade that out a little bit and make sure.
Finances.
Let's go ahead and slip this together real quick. Create a little longer thing. Maybe we can squeeze some time out of there.
Finances.
That might actually do.
Finances. But.
Now there is a little split of noise here.
Finances. But.
You know, right here, in the last part of his sentence, it has you can see an uptick in a volume noise, and that is annoying. Sadly, that's in his quote. It's while he's saying the word finances. We couldn't cut it off at the beginning of that noise, because this is what we would hear.
Finance.
We wouldn't hear finances, we'd hear finance, and it would not be a quote that we could use. But possibly. We'll go ahead and try listening to it one more time.
Finances.
Maybe it's small enough not to notice. Let's listen to the whole quote.
Ultimately, I would like to have a humongous label like Kanye West, but right now that's not feasible in terms of finances. But
not sure. We'll go ahead and keep that at the bottom. We could try and take this quote here and take the noise that we created and bring it down, but that is not a guarantee. What I'm doing here is I'm creating a new track for this bit of noise, and we could limit it, bring it down. We don't want transitions between these sound bites, but it may not work. We'll take a try.
But
Try and make it quieter. Try that.
terms of finances, but
That may work. Let's try it one more time.
in terms of finances, but
That actually does work. We can try making it a little quieter, but I think as it is right now, it sounds okay.
finances, but in terms of finances, but
It does have a little bass there, and I'm not sure if you can take out bass, even in GarageBand. It may be possible, but even in there, I'm not sure how that would work. But we'll go ahead and make it a little quieter and see how it rolls.
finances, but finances, but
Okay, we can work with that. So, that's definitely a quote we can use. I'll go ahead and throw that in here to keep it one track. We'll go ahead and take what we have and group it into one file. So now all I have to do is select one, and I'll have all three bits of audio to create one quote. So it looks like we have potentially 3 quotes already, but there's a good chance we'll have to cut out one of these over here because it's too long. Both of the quotes that I've chosen have extended 18 to 20 seconds, and they've had to be split in half just to be within the guidelines for the homework assignment. So I'll go ahead and listen to the other half of the same quote that I thought about using, and we can work from there.
but I've always cringed when I saw or heard bad writing or bad speaking. So that naturally led me to journalism.
Now, I like the cringed thing. That's, when I'm writing, I was cringed. I thought that was interesting. But he, right off the bat, transitions into an entirely different category.
Or heard bad writing or bad speaking. So that naturally led me to journalism.
So I naturally cringed when I heard bad writing or bad speaking. That quote itself is, let's see how long it is. 3 seconds. So, to have a succinct quote from beginning to end, as interesting as it is, I don't think I can use it. So we'll go ahead to the next quote.
And again, it's something that if I can find my niche, it's something I would enjoy doing. Like a lot of people get up and go do 9 to 5 jobs or whatever time frame they work in. They go in there, do those jobs, and a lot of them hate those jobs. Well, I've never felt that way with writing or broadcast, so it's just something. I hope I answered your question. Yeah.
Okay. I'm not sure about that. I mean, there's something that could be in there, but I don't know. Let's go ahead and listen to some other things. Maybe there's something else.
Well, that's actually a good question. Again, it just depends on where I end up. I mean, first and foremost, it's all about providing and making sure that you can make ends meet. So I like both sides of the coin. If I end up doing broadcast, that's fine. If I end up doing print, that's fine. I think that I'll be well suited in either genre. It just depends on where it ends up, where I can get a job, basically.
Okay, now that might be usable. We might be able to take something out of there. Let's go ahead and start in the middle. I think what I want is right here, but we'll start a little earlier.
So I like both sides of the coin. If I end up doing broadcast,
I like both sides of the coin. See, this report may actually be multifaceted and multi-structured in that he likes a lot of different things. If we start off the quote with, I like both sides of the coin, that might be a good transition for the report and other things that I could say.
I like both sides of the coin. If I end up doing broadcast, that's fine. If I end up doing print, that's fine. I think that I'll be well suited in either genre. It just depends on where it ends up, where I can get a job, basically.
Alright, I think that's pretty good. We have 3 quotes, but for the sake of quality, we will go ahead and listen to the last 1, 2, 3, 4 quotes of his, and we'll work from there.
So you have no, once you graduate...
Oh, I must have not done a good job figuring out that I asked the question here.
Dream job.
The dream job. Oh, wonderful.
The dream job would be... that's an excellent question. The dream job would be living in a warm climate state and finding new artists, breaking new artists into the music industry, helping them to make their bones and eventually seeing them go on to become superstars, whether it be on the underground or whether it be a pop star or whatever, because music comes natural to me, and the executive side of it is what I'm also interested in, which again correlates perfectly with media.
Now, the dream job, I'm not sure if it would have a place because it's so out of left field with the actual purpose of, not the purpose, but the, I want to say it's not parallel with the rest of the interview. The rest of the interview talks about, oh, I've done a lot of music, I've done a lot of this, I've done a lot of that, and you can work with that. You can take those lanes of those roads, and they can all lead to the same destination. But ultimately, something like this is completely left field. It's not on the freeway at all. It's on the side roads. And as interesting as it is, it would kind of throw it off course, the rest of the interview, or the rest of the report, in my opinion. Unless you can come up with a clever ending. And I'm not very good at clever endings, but I'll go ahead and listen to it one more time to give it another try.
Dream job would be, that's an excellent question. The dream job would be living in a warm climate state and finding new artists, breaking new...
He actually mentions, the dream job would be, like he's answering a question. And if I were structuring this report, I wouldn't try and make it look like somebody's interviewing him. If you know what I mean, where, like, someone says, oh, that's a great question. You don't want that in your report. You want to have what he says after that, like what he says the dream job is. But in the beginning of his quote, or in his quote itself, he says,
the dream job would be living in a warm climate.
Right. So, would be living... Yeah, so, just the way he sets it up kind of diffuses the quote and makes it useless. So, I'm going to go ahead and skip that one and go ahead to the next one, to one of the last three.
You coming up around the studio, you know how important sound quality is. So, while I've always been concerned with writing when I got into music, it made no sense to record a bunch of the music and have it engineered crappy and have it come out sounding terrible and you don't even want to put it out. So that goes right along with doing broadcast production. It doesn't matter if you've got all the credentials, if you can't do the work, if you can't sit in the control studio and make sure that cameras are on the talent at the right time, that different clips run at the appropriate time, and what are you in it for? So it's all, I would think it's all in a ball of wax. It's like one and the same, like you said, jack of all trades. And especially like if you're involved with me, you gotta know you have to have so many different aspects covered. You can't just be like, you have to be multifaceted. And if you're not, then the next person who does know those things is probably gonna get that job. So
See, and this is actually very interesting. I think this quote is probably the most, I don't know, worthy. Let's go ahead and listen to that one more time.
You coming up around the studio, you know how important sound quality is. So while I've always been concerned with writing when I got into music, it made no sense to record a bunch of the music and have it engineered crappy and have it come out sounding terrible and you don't even want to put it out. So
now, maybe, now that I thought about it, the interesting thing I think is more or less in the beginning.
You coming up around the studio, you know how important sound quality is. So while I've always been concerned with writing when I got into music, it made no sense to record a bunch of the music and have it engineered crappy and have it come out sounding terrible and you don't even want to put it out. So you don't even want to put it come out sounding terrible and you don't.
Okay, I'm gonna try and keep the word terrible to be his last word, but I doubt I'll be able to do that.
Come out sounding terrible. Come out sounding terrible. Come out sounding terrible.
Actually, yes, that might be possible. We'll go ahead and listen to the end of that real quick.
Have it engineered crappy and have it come out sounding terrible.
Okay, I think I like that one as well. So we have basically one quote here, two quotes. Let's listen to this one real quick one more time.
I like both sides of the coin. If I end up doing broadcast, that's fine. If I end up doing print, that's fine. I think that I'll be well suited in either genre. It just depends on where it ends up, where I can get a job, basically.
Okay, so we have this one where he's talking about, let me make sure I get this right.
I like both sides of the coin.
Okay, he's talking about multifaceted, being able to do different things, so it would allow him to dive into different careers if the opportunity presented